I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the Cowboy Man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse, trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the dirty. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What is up, everybody? I am your host, Wayne. Welcome back to Paranormal Odyssey Live. I am joined, as always, by my great friend, co-host, producer, unprofessional. Let's see how unprofessional. Miss Tiffany. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm good.
See, I was testing you.
I didn't realize that I had not unmuted myself. Mm-hmm. It's always an adventure with me.
It really is.
It is. You never know what you're going to get.
What's up, ma'am? You've had some just all kind of interesting crap going on at Casa de Duran, right?
Yes, it has been a lot. I sent you this morning, and we have a show, you guys. Me and Dak are going to be on this show. As funny as that is, we are. September 17th at 8. And I was going through the footage from last night, and our trash runs Tuesday morning, first thing Tuesday morning. So we usually set it out on Monday evening. We chose not to do that this week because of what happened last week. So when we got up this morning, we were, I went through the footage, and there is something. It's a figure. Okay, it's an upright figure. To sum it up, yes. I tried to manipulate the picture and stuff like that. You can definitely tell a head, the shoulders, the torso, right there where we normally set our trash can. And it was in the same time frame that our trash can got messed with last week. And then we went down in the backyard to mow, and the ground's kind of soft because it had been raining. And there was a footprint that looks like a footprint. I'm not saying that it's a Bigfoot, but it's unusual. So it's intriguing.
You are going to get to try your hand at casting for the first time. You're going to go and pick up some plaster of Paris tomorrow. Is that right?
Yes, I'm going to attempt to do this. I put our we don't have a circular mop. We have which to cover the whole print, you would have to have an oblong kind of oval thing to cover it all up. So I put that mop bucket over it. So hopefully nothing messes with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you sent me the video, and I can tell you there's something. There is something that is moving, and I thought it was white in color, but then you told me you messed with the coloring and everything. It's definitely lighter in color than the area around it, and it looks like it's on 2 feet.
And I mean, it was 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
When it caught it first. So it takes our security camera takes a snapshot of every hour. And it had it there at 4:30, and then it had it there at 5:30. So Zach was talking today, and he's like, well, what if it was there at 4:30, walked up to the dead end or somewhere, and then it caught it coming back down at 5:30, which is a possibility too. It's just strange.
Y'all might need to put up some more trail cams in the area.
Yeah, because it's just one, we have that downslope, and Hunter is 11, which he's quiet right now, but he goes down the path of least resistance that Zach weed eats. There's bushes laid over in our Amazon jungle that we have back there, that one footprint, and then it's the fence, and then the creek.
And for those of you that are new tonight, Hunter is not their child, it's their dog.
Yes. I should preface that. He's an 11-year-old lab.
So 11-year-old kid is not that old. An 11-year-old dog, yeah, it's getting up there.
He's 77 in doggy years, or human years.
He's good people.
He's good people. He was husky howling, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awful.
Well, he's quiet now. So while he is, let's go ahead and pay some bills so we can get to our guest. We got Mr. Ernie Pack backstage. We're going to talk some paranormal and some Bigfoot tonight. He is in Kentucky and does both. He told us backstage it's split about 50-50 and what all they do. But yeah, he's got some really, really cool stuff going on, and he actually offers to the public. You guys can come out and do your own investigation stuff. So it's really cool. But before we do that, I do want to get to the poll question really quick, because we're going to ask Ernie what he thinks about this. Poll question for tonight: does Bigfoot have an afterlife like us humans? Are there Bigfoot ghosts? Right now, it is 62% yes, 38% no. And I'd have no idea where I stand in this. Do you have an idea, Tiffany?
I've not ever thought about that until you posed that question. So I would not have anything on that right at this very second.
If Bigfoot are as close to us as humans as a lot of people think, then why wouldn't they?
Well, I mean, you think in the Bible it says the lion will lie with a lamb, indicating animals are in heaven.
Yeah.
I just hadn't never thought about it.
Something else I want to ask Ernie when he comes out is about animal ghosts, like pet ghosts. I haven't really given that a whole lot of thought. So I know Ernie's backstage and he's listening to us right now, so be working on that. And you'll be thinking, Ernie, he's letting us know right now he's working on it. All right, let's pay some bills, madam.
All right, Steph.
If you are new to the show tonight, we are so happy to have you. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Before you leave, please click that subscribe button. Help Tiffany and myself continue to grow this little show that we have been working so hard on. It all starts by hitting that subscribe button. Please do so.
And if you have an encounter you would like to share and would like to come on with Wayne and I, you can reach out to him, Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com, or me, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com, and we will get you on the schedule for September.
Yes, indeed. I want to invite everyone to head over to paranormalworldproductions.com. That is our website. Show some love to all the other shows under the studio's umbrella. Maybe consider picking up some merch, checking out the blogs, and sign up for the Bigfoot newsletter. You can do all of that at paranormalworldproductions.com.
And if you have any questions for tonight's guest, please just put them in all capital letters. We highlight them and ask them at the end of the show, around the last 10 minutes or so, in a rapid fire question answer session. As long as they're in capital letters, we will get to as many as we possibly can.
All right. And lastly, guys, I want to invite anyone that is new tonight that haven't heard us talk about it. And if you've just been on the fence, we offer a membership to our channel here. It is only $1.99, 199 pennies. That's all it costs. You guys, anyone that has been in this for a little while, y'all know it costs money putting this stuff out. The programs that we use to edit. I mean, this to even put this show on, I pay a monthly fee for that. Like Alex says, best $1.99 a month ever a month that he could spend, and he says that every episode, and I appreciate it, buddy. But yeah, it costs money to put this stuff on. Nothing in this world is free. So if you can help us out with $2 a month, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. We were doing really well with the members there for a while, and then it has slacked off. But our members do get some perks. We have a members only Discord that we try to be active on, and our members are really active on it. We got movie nights planned. There's a game room, jukebox room. There's just all kind of cool stuff, and you can't get in unless you're a PO freak. And the PO freak is our members. So you get the Discord, you get members only shows, you get early access to upcoming stuff. We try to give you as much as we can, and like we said, it's $2, guys. If you can help us out with $2 a month, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. That membership is open. Just click the join button, and yeah. Also, as you see at the bottom, our super stickers are open. We have not hit our goal yet this month, so our people are awesome. You guys always come through for us. If you can help us out tonight, we are about $80, $70-$80 away from hitting our goal for the month. And we're coming up on the end of the month. Today's the 20th. So if you guys can help us get there, we would appreciate it. If not, we love you anyway.
And we're just glad that you came.
Yes, we are. All right. You got anything else, ma'am?
I don't. My doggy's quiet. Let's go.
Your doggy is quiet. We got some pictures that we're going to be sharing for Mr. Ernie. Again, yeah, Ernie seems like a really good guy. We got to hang out with him for about 10, 15 minutes backstage before the show. And yeah, can't wait to get him out. So let's go ahead and do it. Ernie, what's up, buddy?
Hello, how are you?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so very much. We're going to give you a chance to talk about your property and everything. Mike Wolf, thank you very much, buddy, for the super sticker. You were awesome. I love you. Chris Blaylock, you're amazing. Thank you, ma'am. All right, we don't want to take away from Ernie's time, though. Ernie, tell us how did you get your start in this crazy paranormal Bigfoot world?
Well, I grew up in a family of mostly believers. Even some of them might have been skeptical believers, but they were believers. Got a lot of Native American heritage in my family. And as you know, Native American people are generally very spiritual people and believe very much in the spirit world.
Yes.
And so it never was anything that I was told, oh, there's no such thing as ghosts or whatever. And, had experiences from a very young age at the house I grew up in and my grandmother's house and just various places that, as a kid that we would go. And where I lived as a kid was within a bike's ride of Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Wow.
And when Waverly closed in 1980, it was kind of a rite of passage for anybody that was a, teenager, young adult to sneak into Waverly Hills, because it was this big, beautiful abandoned building with, at that time, still had beds and everything in it. It's just like they took all the people out of the hospital and left everything else behind. And so I used to sneak in there all the time. When Tina and Charlie Mattingly bought it in 2001, I believe it was, and opened it up for tours and investigations, I jumped on that. I started taking the tours, going on the public and a couple of private investigations up there back in those early days. And every time I would go, I would ask Tina about if she needed a tour guide. I'd love to be a guide. And she never did until one day she said, well, we need help with the haunted house this year that's coming up, if you'd like to help with that. And I said, okay. So that was my foot in the door. I started out as a haunted house actor and then worked my way up as a caboose first for the tours and then a guide, and then eventually hosting the private overnights, and spent a lot of time there. I worked there, I don't know, I think 3 or 4 different times altogether over the course of about 12 years, and got to meet a lot of the bigger names in the paranormal field. A lot of the TV shows that would come up there and film, I got to meet some of the folks that were on there, some of the best investigators, let alone set the celebrities aside, but some of the best investigators in the field, just, Joe Paranormal, that's what he actually does. He's out there putting in the work, and learned a lot of different techniques and everything. There's one particular story at Waverly Hills of a nurse who was found hanging outside of room 502 that the story that we would tell as guides up there just never set right with me. It just didn't seem right. So I spent a lot of time up there, from going back before I worked at Waverly to when I was coming up there for the public investigations or the couple of privates that I went on up there. Spent a lot of time outside of room 502 trying to get her story. And I eventually pieced together what I thought was the basis of what might have actually happened to her through, a word or phrase here that you'd get on an EVP or through an ovulus or whatever, however you get an answer from a spirit, all the different means. And golly, I see Crystal Blevins over in the chat, so this could go bad. But no. So one night, what was it? June 20th of 2019, a lady came up there, had 3 of her daughters with her for a private overnight. She was there with several friends, and like I say, she had 3 of her daughters with her. And I was giving them their tour before their investigation. And we got to the 5th floor, and I told the story that, was basically part of the script for the tours about that nurse who was found hanging outside of room 502. And for some reason that night, I said, but I don't really think that's what happened. If you'd like me to tell you what I think happened, I'd be glad to. And they all said, sure, go ahead. So I started telling the story as I had pieced it together. And I'm looking at this lady, and she's sitting there nodding her head, grinning like, yes, yep. Like she knew what I was going to say before I said it. So I pulled her aside after the tour, and I said, when I was telling Sarah's story, you looked like you knew what I was going to say before I said it. And she said, well, I've been coming here since 2009, and I'm a nurse myself, so I've always been interested in that story, and I've been investigating, and I've gotten the same things. We started going down the list of, the name Sarah, that she was murdered, that it wasn't a suicide, all these different things. And so her and I started communicating a lot and trying to piece together more of Sarah's story. She was living in Hendersonville, Tennessee. She would come up to Louisville, and we would go to the library or to the cemeteries or wherever we could go to try to find more on Sarah's story. And eventually, we were just friends. But one night we're up on top of a hill here in town, in Louisville, at a cemetery looking for Sarah's grave. And Bigfoot found us. We were not Bigfoot believers necessarily. We didn't disbelieve, but we weren't Bigfoot people. We were both ghost hunters. She'd been a ghost hunter her whole life. I'd been into the paranormal my whole life. We weren't Bigfoot people, but we hear these tree knocks initially that leads to a long, low, guttural growl. And then eventually we see a figure moving across through the woods on 2 feet. And so we did some research on the area, and she went and Googled, when we left that night, she Googled Bigfoot in Jefferson Memorial Forest, which is where we were at. And it just so happened that there was going to be a Bigfoot expedition that weekend, the following weekend, because there had been so many sightings recently in that area. So we were like, maybe we did see a Bigfoot. So I wound up contacting one of the guest hosts for Coast to Coast AM, who I knew from doing a live stream for them at Waverly. And I told her what had happened. And she said, "Oh, we got to get you on a show. We need to do something. We need to do a Ghost Hunters Meet Bigfoot live stream. What's your team name?" I said, "We don't have a team. It's just me and Denise. You know, we're just two people." And she said, "Well, you got to have a team name if we're going to do this live stream." And you know, my last name is Pack. My nickname has always been Pac-Man. In the game Pac-Man, what did he do? He chased ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
We're Pac-Man Paranormal. There you go. So that's how Pac-Man Paranormal was born, because Bigfoot found us when we were ghost hunting, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But, you know, since then, I mean, she later went to work at Waverly with me, hosting the private overnights in the Publix, and we wound up married, and it's all Sarah's fault. And I don't know. It's we've done a little bit of everything over the years now. We now have moved to West Point, Kentucky. We were looking for a house. We wanted a historical home. And 3 a.m, she's looking on Zillow, and she wakes me up. I'm sound asleep. And she says, "We need this house." And I look, and it says, you know, "For all you history buffs, this former Civil War hospital, blah, 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 blah." And we were like, "Oh, yeah, we'll take it." So we contacted the realtor. We were here the next morning. On a Sunday morning, we actually were able to get in touch with the realtor and get in the house by noon. And we walked 10 feet in the front door downstairs, and we said, "We'll take it." You know, as paranormal investigators, you know that feeling you get when you walk into a place that's full of energy, and we could feel it the minute we walked in the door, and we said, "We'll take it." And so then we do some research on the house. It's called the Ditto House Inn. We start research. We Googled the Ditto House Inn. The first Google result that popped up was 6 reasons why the Ditto House Inn is Kentucky's most haunted house. And, you know, Denise and I were high-fiving. We were like, bonus. You know, we didn't expect that. We just knew it was a historic home that fit, you know, what we were looking for. And so it, I don't know, everything kind of fell together. We got in here. There's a Civil War fort that's right up on the hill, just a half mile from the house, called Fort Duffield. And we thought, well, we live right here by it. We need to go investigate there. I had never investigated there. I'd walked up there in the past because I grew up not very far from here. And we looked into how to do a private overnight. There really wasn't a way to do a private overnight. You could go join someone else for an investigation. You pay them $20 and you could join them on their investigation, but you couldn't do your own private overnight. So I went to the people at the Friends of Fort Duffield, which is the nonprofit that raises funds for the fort. And I said, "Hey, I think I could help you guys raise a little more money if you'd open this up for paranormal investigations, for private paranormal investigations and events." And they said, "Well, put together a proposal and we'll talk about it." So I put together a proposal, went before the city council here and the mayor and all of the people with Friends of Fort Duffield, and we wound up signing a contract. So now we're living in Kentucky's most haunted house and hosting public and private investigations and other events at Fort Duffield. And, you know, like I said, I spent 12 years with Waverly Hills. Got a lot of experience there that has helped me, you know, learn kind of how to handle things there. And it's been amazing. I mean, we have met so many great people, and I don't know, we're doing a lot of things now that I never would have thought I'd be doing. I mean, speaking at Paracon, speaking at Bigfoot conferences, and it's just been, I don't know, it's been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing the doors that open up once you start doing this. And that's awesome, man. I do want to ask you real quick about the poll question that we had tonight. Does Bigfoot have an afterlife like us humans? Are there Bigfoot ghosts? Have you ever considered this?
Well, I did consider that kind of thing back when I thought Bigfoot was an animal. But now that I've experienced so much Bigfoot activity, I can tell you that Bigfoot is a spirit. Yeah, he's interdimensional. It's not a flesh and blood creature. It can appear flesh and blood, but I also watched that flesh and blood creature cloak into something that looks like the Predator from the movie Predator going through the woods.
I'm intrigued.
Oh, can't do that.
Do tell.
There you go. Well, I mean, what do you want to know? I mean,
Well, what led up to that? Were you just out and he was there one minute, gone the next? Because we do hear the Predator, stories.
We did this one event for that co-host of Coast to Coast AM that I talked about. And then she invited us back for another one. And it was to be held at Gates of Hell, if you've ever heard of that, Casey Cemetery down near Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And Denise and I got down there before anyone else got there, and we were just kind of walking around exploring the place. We had never been to Gates of Hell at that point. We were just kind of walking around, familiarizing ourselves with the area. We walked back behind the cemetery down into the woods, probably where we're not supposed to be. And Denise yells, she's like, I don't know what the hell I just saw, but it looked like, and she said, it looked like Predator running through the woods. And I'm like, okay, you're crazy. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, sure. And then 5 minutes later, I saw the same thing. And we were like, I'm not sure what I've seen. Well, then Greg Yost, who was on that live stream with us, they call him Squatch Man. He showed up. And we were describing that to him. He said, oh, you saw one that was cloaked. I said, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, they can cloak. And you saw it when it was cloaked. And we're like, okay. Well, then, I guess about 3 months later, we were up in a forest with Squatch Man. And we see this figure walking down a trail. And it's the classic, looks like Patty, from the Patterson-Gimlin footage, classic Bigfoot walking down a trail. And then it just kind of slowly materializes into this Predator looking thing and goes on down over the hill. And we're like, holy shit. We watched it go from the flesh and blood to that. And I'm like, yeah, an animal can't do that. I mean, it's not what I thought it was.
That's fascinating.
And, that is why, in my opinion, like I say, we're going to be speaking at the Rock Island Roadhouse Paracon on Bigfoot. We're going to be speaking at the Indiana Bigfoot, their first ever convention, in Indiana Bigfoot Research Organization's first ever convention. And most of the people that are speaking there on Bigfoot, they go out there with trail cams and night vision and drones and FLIR cameras and everything in the world, like they're hunting some kind of animal. They never get anything. Yeah. When we go out in the forest with Squatch Man and we do the things the way that he does them, we have activity just about every time we're in the forest. And, be it from a full-on sighting to just getting a vocalization or tree knocks or just seeing the eye shine, their eyes will illuminate. They don't just reflect light. I mean, they're like freaking lights.
Like self-illumination.
Yeah. And I never would have thought, like I said, I was not a Bigfoot person even. And then when I, had my first encounter, I thought they were a big animal that could rip me to shreds, and would rip me to shreds. Now I feel every bit as at peace when I'm in the forest and I'm encountering something like that as I do when I'm here in my house and have one of the children's spirits run down the hall. It's, I don't know. It's not anything that I ever thought it was, but now I'm thoroughly convinced that it is interdimensional and spiritual, energy-based being, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah, Ernie, and it's from talking to people like you that said the things that you just said that make me open my mind a little bit more, because when I started this back in 2020, You could not convince me that these things were anything other than flesh and blood creatures, another one of God's creations that we just haven't caught up with yet. But the more people I talk to, I hear stuff like this. And not everybody's lying. Not everybody's just making this up. These are actual things that people are experiencing. And we're doing ourselves a huge disjustice if we don't look into it, if we don't listen to it.
Open your mind to it. I mean, it's, like I say, as a paranormal investigator, I'm pretty open-minded anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when we had that first encounter with the forest people, which is what Squatch Man calls them, and I think that's a better way to put it than Bigfoot. When we had our first encounter, I thought I'd encountered this flesh and blood missing link, primate. And then the more encounters we had over time and the more I witnessed, the more I realized, no, that's not what it is at all. And I mean, the power of them is amazing. I mean, we have seen them. There's an encounter that, I mean, it's probably the most epic encounter anybody could ever have, that myself, Denise, our daughter, Cora, who just got her master's degree. She's not a crazy person or a dummy. And Squatch Man, Greg Yost, had up in a southern Indiana forest where 7 trees were pushed over in the space of about a minute. And I'm talking big trees. And we went over there and looked. I mean, these things are pushed up by the root. And there was no reason for them to fall. And they fell at a safe distance away from us in a circle all the way around us. And it happened because Greg Yost asked him to do something amazing. It was as simple as that. He walked out to the edge of the woods and said, "My friends, I want to see your power. Do something epic. I want it to come alive out here in this forest. Can you do that for me?" A tree falls. Then another one. Another one. I mean, 7 of them. And it's,
you witnessed this, Ernie.
I was there.
See, Jason Kinsey did an interview with, I believe it was the Minnesota Roars episode that he did with a gentleman who did the same exact thing. And he said the same exact thing. And that was the first time I'd ever heard of it until just now. Is this guy said, they'll bring him like animal bones, or something is a gift or whatever you want, however you want to look at that. And he said, all I have to do is ask them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's wild.
That's Greg, we have a gifting stump up there at Greg's Forest that we go to that we'll put everything out there from, like apples and fruits and nuts to raspberry filled Krispy Kreme donuts. And you might not believe it, but they prefer the raspberry filled Krispy Kreme donuts.
I would too.
I don't know, man. I like them hot donuts now.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Glazed. Oh,
yeah, just the glaze. When that hot light's on, it's like state law. You got to pull in.
Exactly. You're going to make him order some donuts.
I'm about to pick up my phone and order some damn donuts.
Just throw them in the microwave.
All right.
What was the other question you had on your poll questions?
No, just can Bigfoot become a spirit? Can Bigfoot become a ghost?
And then it was ghost animals is what you were going to ask.
Oh, yeah.
We don't own a cat, but we had a friend over at the house that we lived at that was right over by Waverly Hills before we moved down here. We had a friend over that was helping us with the investigations up there, one of the guides. And we were sitting at the dining room table, and he's like, "When did y'all get a cat?" Mm-hmm. And he said, where'd it go? There was just a black cat that came and rubbed against my leg and went down the hall. we had seen that we had never said anything to anybody, but we had seen a black cat running around our house and then there was a white one. There was a gray. I mean, we've had, like 5 or 6 different cats that we don't own cats, but not only us, but other people have seen them in the house. And, there's not any cats here. I can assure you. I have a dog that would not like that. And, so yeah, I believe in spirit animals.
Well, it's like at the Boyd house. We had Randy and all of them on not too terribly long ago, but on one of their investigations at the Boyd house. They're in the kitchen and they recorded a cat meowing. There's no cat there.
Yeah. We've at Waverly Hills. There's on the 3rd floor at Waverly Hills. There was a homeless veteran who he and his dog were killed, and they were found dead there in the building. And you can go up there to Waverly Hills still to this day, and you'll hear Sadie, the dog. You'll hear the toenails on the concrete floors. You can hear her dog tag jingling, and she'll rub up against your leg. She was one of the dogs that would like lean on your leg, apparently, because she does that. So yeah, I firmly believe that there are spirit animals out there.
Yeah. It's interesting as hell. I've heard people talk about like their pets that they have lost, like seeing them before, but I've never really known what to make of it. I mean, we hear all the time about human ghosts, and I do want you to elaborate, Ernie. You said you were talking earlier about the child ghost. You mentioned it in passing. The child ghost that runs down your hall. We have got to talk about that, man.
We have several child spirits here at the house. We've got we don't have any small children. I've got an 18-year-old son that lives here. He lives in the room right behind. Where's it at? That door right there. But he's not home right now. But hello, Sarah. When we got the house, we started doing research on it. Like I said, we found a book called The Spirited and Haunting History of West Point, Kentucky. And it's got an entire chapter on our house. And when you read that book, one of the stories in there is about children who would sit on the steps and they would throw pebbles down the steps to try to land them on a certain step. And so, we thought that was intriguing. When we finally got the keys to the house and we're moving in, we were cleaning it up because it needed a lot of cleaning before we could start moving in. Denise, one night before we left, she said, "Okay, kids," because, we're paranormal investigators and we just talk to the air like that. We do that. Yeah. And it's perfectly normal for us. She said, "Okay, kids, if you're here, can you let us know? Can you leave us a rock where we'll see it when we come back?" And we came back the next day to clean some more. And right on the 3rd step on the stairwell, right off of the foyer out downstairs there, was a rock about this big. And then we started finding more rocks around the house. We've got an entire silver chalice downstairs that has probably 15 rocks in it that we have found in the house like that, just randomly. And so we created there's a little small bedroom here in the house. We just called it the nursery or the children's room. And we've decorated it up, for the period. I don't know if you can tell, but we've got, the whole house kind of try to keep it authentic to the time period for the most part. And we put some toys in there. We put different things in there. And the more that we embrace them and accept them and welcome them, the more active they get. I mean, we've got, when you're coming up that main staircase, there's a mirror, there's a wash table, an antique wash table with a mirror on it right at the top of those steps. And the children's room is directly opposite that mirror. A lot of times you'll be coming up those steps and you'll see a kid run into the nursery.
Holy hell.
And it's it'll take you aback a little bit at first, but now it's just cool. And
I've always heard that
right now, I see it. I see Troy's question right now, and I think it's pertinent. The house was built in 1841, Troy.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. There's that saying, and I agree with it 100%. There's nothing more beautiful in this world than the sound of a child's laughter, unless it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't live alone.
Yes, I agree with that. It's a little unnerving.
Fuck that.
Amen.
Yeah. Are there any more like kid ghost stories? Why is it that kid ghosts captivate us so much? It's kid ghosts and then women in white dresses.
Everybody's got a lady in white story or a kid with no eyes or something.
Yeah.
Well, the Crystal, who came and stayed, she actually stayed in the children's room when she was here a couple weeks ago. We have on our steps, I told you about the rocks. Mm-hmm. Well, Denise and I put a crystal on each step for them to play with. And every now and then you'd come home and, the crystals would be moved. There might be 2 on one step and none on another, where they had moved one from one step to the next.
Really?
And so, that happens a lot. Well, we had one crystal that turned up missing about a month and a half ago. And we kept looking for it. I mean, cabinet doors open and close in here all the time. And every time a cabinet would open up or something, we would look and see, we come home and we see a cabinet open. We'd look and see if maybe the crystal was in there, the one that was missing. And we couldn't find it anywhere. We looked everywhere in the house, could not find this crystal. Well, when Crystal came and stayed, she slept in the children's room, like I say. She got up the next morning, went and took her shower, went back, was going to make the bed. When she went to straighten the pillow, that missing crystal was under her pillow.
Oh.
And she will verify it for you. I mean, that happened. And so they're very active here. I mean, there's a reason why they call this the most haunted house in Kentucky. It's not small things. It's big things.
What is it with the kids? Why kids?
We know of at least 2 children that died here over the years.
Boys or girls?
One for sure was a girl. The other one, I'm not sure the gender, but I know there was another child that was, I think, 3 that passed away here. There were also 2 women that died during childbirth and lost the baby during childbirth. So there's several.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, Fort Duffield itself, it was manned by mostly home guard units, which if you're familiar with Civil War history, the home guard units a lot of times were kids from 13 to 17. And there were 48 deaths at least. We think there might have been 63, but there's confirmed, I think, 46 or 48 deaths up at the fort. And they were all of either accident or disease. The fort was never actually under attack. But it was just active for 6 months and 48 people died. So, think about that. That's a lot.
That's a lot of energy left.
Yeah. And these were young kids. And our house was one of the houses where they would bring the sick soldiers to care for them. And several of them died here. We've been told that there's 28 confirmed deaths in the house, and about 20 of those are from Fort Duffield.
So
28 confirmed deaths in that house?
Yeah.
Do you see any of the soldiers that passed away or experienced?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have, I wish I could, Denise is working right now, and I didn't get a chance to send you the EVP that she got. I don't know if you could play it anyway, but she's had a soldier. We assumed it was a soldier because it was a young man in like a blue uniform, and this was a Union fort, that would like flirt with her or always hang around, and he'd play with her hair or whatever. And one night she was here by herself, and she kept feeling something messing with her hair. So she started running a recorder. You can see the house needs a paint job, but we're working on that. We're getting there. We're gonna have it pressure washed and then tuck pointed. But anyway, she started running a recorder, and she said, I'm just going to be sitting here at the table doing some bills and some paperwork, but you're welcome to be here. And as soon as she finishes talking, you can hear, it's just clear as a bell, a whistle. And I don't know, we've seen soldiers, Todd and Leanne Eskew of the Black Wolf Paranormal, who host the public events at the Bell Witch Cave. They stay here a lot, and they have seen a soldier like standing sentry at their bedroom door. They wake up in the middle of the night and he's standing there by the bedroom door. So,
do you ever get freaked out by anything anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, every now and then you do. I mean, it's a little creepy every now and then. As used to this as we've investigated all over the country, some of the most haunted places in the world, and spent a lot of hours by myself, the only person in Waverly Hills Sanatorium. A lot of people consider that the most haunted place in the world.
Right.
And still, when you're home alone, like last night, Denise, she works night shift. She's a nurse. She works night shift. I was the only one here last night. I did not sleep much. There was one time I let the dog in from out back and gave him his treat and told him to go to his room, and he starts trotting toward his room. He stopped at the edge of the dining room and just started growling and just froze. And I was like, what are you doing? What is it, Red? And he was just focused. He would not turn around and look at me. He was just standing there growling. And I'm like, what's in there? I don't want to go. I was convinced somebody must be here that shouldn't be. Red's very friendly. And so I wound up going up the back stairs around the other way up through my son's room and came through here, got the gun, and went and cleared the house like, SWAT or something. Because I was convinced somebody was in the house. And that was, midnight last night. And then I kept hearing noises, people talking, people walking down the hall. And, when Denise is home and, we're laying in bed and we're hearing things like that, we just go, you hear that? And we nod and kind of giggle and ignore it. But when you're here by yourself, it's a little different.
It adds a whole different element, I think, when you're alone and you hear it. Like, because we've had stuff going here. We're having stuff going now. But when Zach's here, it's that sense of security because I'm not the main protector of our teenage daughter.
Right.
And you can just kind of relax a little bit. You're not cuckoo crazy because you're not the only one to see her in this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I think we have a world record for this program for questions. We have 17 starred items. Not all those are questions, but we're going to try to get to those real quick. That's why we're getting to it a little bit early because we got so many. So rapid fire, just as quick as we can. Ernie, Mike Wolf, my good buddy, what was the scariest thing you've seen and where was it?
A woman getting thrown across the floor, dragged backwards. She landed on her face. She was dragged backwards by something unseen, picked up by her legs, and slammed back down on her face at Brushy Mountain Penitentiary in the cafeteria.
Holy hell, that qualifies.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Did she die?
No, she was freaked out, though.
I wouldn't go back.
Because everybody that was there, to be honest.
Oh, my God. What could she have done?
She touched Denise when Denise was trying to hold a negative energy. Denise said, come over here, feel this, but don't touch me. And she put her hand on Denise's shoulder. Boom. Eyes went black and she went flying sideways.
And you saw this?
Yes. And part of it's on video. We got video of part of it.
Oh, my God.
The last.
Send me that video, Ernie.
Okay, I'll have Denise send that. She's
Yeah,
got. I don't have it on mine.
Okay. The next question, Chris Blaylock, great friend of the show. What all did you see at the fort? I'm not sure what this is in reference to.
We have seen UFOs at the fort. We have seen Bigfoot at the fort. Usually, it's Civil War soldiers. We've seen the classic Lady in White. Got a photo of that actually. Did y'all hear that?
I did hear that. What was it?
I don't know. It was a knock on the.
It was a knock.
Hell yeah. Okay, if you're a ghost at the house, do something weird. Do something cool right now.
Can you knock again?
Can you make that noise again, please?
Maybe they're camera shy.
Of course they won't. They're right over here in the corner here. I don't know what it was. It was like not an antique cabinet over here. It was like something knocked on that cabinet.
Yeah.
But anyway,
let's move to the next one. Mike Wolf, where did you see the cloaked Bigfoot?
The one that went from the one that was just cloaked was at Casey Cemetery, Gates of Hell, which is in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. The one that we saw go from a full figured Bigfoot to a cloaked Bigfoot was at a undisclosed location in southern Indiana.
Okay.
Don't want to talk about it because I don't want it to get overran.
Chris Blaylock, what year was your Bigfoot sighting in Jefferson Memorial Forest?
That would have been early 2020. Early 2020, like January of 2020.
Okay. Mike Wolf, have you ever seen a full body apparition? Good question.
Probably about a legion of them. Yes. All the years I spent at Waverly Hills and everywhere else we've investigated, plus here at the house. Yes, I've seen lots. And it never gets old.
My good buddy Bristol, Ernie, have you guys investigated the LBL, either paranormal, Bigfoot, or Dogman?
No, I went to LBL several times as a kid. Used to deer hunt down by there with my dad when I was in my early teens. But I have not been down there since I've been, immersed in the paranormal investigation. I need to get down there and check out the Dogman stories from down there, though.
Yeah, that's a cool place. It really is.
Yeah, I like it down there, but it's just been years since I've been.
Mike Wolf, Bigfoot and ghosts. You seen anything else? Any other experiences?
Yeah. You've heard of Kentucky goblins?
Oh yeah.
I've actually got a photo of one. I'll send you that.
Please do.
A photo of one that we were Bigfooting and encountered. This was in southern Indiana, but it has all the earmarks of a Kentucky goblin.
You know what? You know what, Ernie? This might tie into that. Have you had any little people experiences?
Yes. And, I'll say something else that will make me sound even crazier than everything else I've said. Several times when we're having Bigfoot activity, you will see these little lights in the woods just kind of dancing around. And I was like, well, I don't know what that is. And Denise said, it's fairies. And I'm like, psst, never been a believer in fairies.
We hear about orbs all the time.
So I believe it very well might be fairies because of how many of them we have seen when we've had Bigfoot encounters. And we don't do drugs. We're not out there tripping and seeing this stuff. We're seeing
on board.
But yeah. Go ahead and pop out another one.
All right, let's go. Troy in Tennessee, my great buddy. Do you believe there is a biblical aspect to the beings of Sasquatch?
Squatch Man calls them godly people. And I mean, I think of them as like guardians of nature that were sent by God to protect the forest, to protect the animals of the forest, to protect nature. And, you look at the missing 411 files. we don't know what those people were doing before they went missing. Most of them were, out by themselves. Were they starting a forest fire? Were they doing, were they doing something they shouldn't be doing, and the forest people might have punished them? I don't know. I mean, the more I learn, the more questions, the more doors open to more questions.
Yeah, exactly. The more you learn, the more questions you have.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Joe Pat, have you seen a portal that they entered, or do they just disappear after cloaking?
I've not actually witnessed a portal. Now the tree arches, I could take you to some phenomenal tree structures of tree arches, where you have these huge trees that are bent and bowed all the way back down to the ground, and they're pinned down by even larger trees that are upside down. The root wad is up in the air. And Squatch Man believes that those might be the portals that you're talking about. That they're some type of energy portal or something that they're creating. I mean, that's one theory on it anyway. But I've never actually witnessed one walking or seen a portal or seen one come in or out of one.
Okay. Mike Wolf, do you think it takes a certain mindset of someone to experience these things, or can anyone? Great question.
I think that is vital to any kind of paranormal research, be it cryptids, be it ufology, or spirit activity. I think you have to go in with a positive, good energy, a very respectful energy, and be very open to any possibilities that might arise.
Okay. This one is from Joe Pat, and I think it's a great question. I've always heard that demons pretend to be kid ghosts. What do you think?
I think that's possible, but in 30 years as a paranormal investigator, and hundreds, if not thousands, of encounters, I might have had 4 situations that I thought might have been demonic. If you work with a true exorcist, not some internet trained demonologist or whatever, but a true exorcist, which we have, we're actually married by one. They will tell you there's a whole nother level to demons besides getting scratched or having something bad happen or whatever. And I think demons are a lot more rare than what they're portrayed in paranormal entertainment television and YouTube shows and things of that nature.
I agree. I agree with that 1,000%. All right. Freaking Fabulous and Friends. Have you ever investigated the former state hospital in southern Indiana? And if so, did you witness any activity?
If you're talking about Indiana State Sanatorium, yes, and yes. Indiana State Sanatorium, that's the only one I can think of that might fit that description that I have. But it's very active. It's a place that is kind of amazing to me. I mean, it's, having spent so much time at Waverly Hills Sanatorium, I mean, it's another former tuberculosis hospital. It was just interesting to me to see the differences and the similarities. And we got in there, and yeah, it's a very active location.
Okay. All right. And these last 3, I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome. Very
quick.
It's been my pleasure.
Mike Wolf, $5 super sticker. Thank you so very much. Chris Blaylock, $20. And this one I've been holding. I don't want to take any time away from you, Ernie, but I do want to say a very, very special thank you to Scott Trent, who donated $100 tonight. He said, I have said it before and will continue to say it. I don't know you all personally, but I do. You all have helped me more than you will ever know. Love you all. God bless. Scott, I cannot thank you enough, buddy. Thank you so much. For those of you that don't know, Scott lost his wife, I think, last year.
Mm-hmm.
They were married for a very, very long time. Scott, he has been a very active member in our community. We love you, buddy. Thank you so very much. He finds a release. Like, it takes his mind off of everything to hang out with us, and he shows his appreciation. And you are awesome, buddy. Thank you so very much. I love you. Reach out to me, buddy. We need to talk more.
Yes.
But I thank you so very much for everything that you do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, Ernie, take
Yes.
a few minutes and tell everybody where they can find you, what you want to promote, just anything that you want to talk about.
All right. Well, first off, you can find me, Ernie Pack, on Facebook. We've got all the other social medias and stuff, the Instagram and all that, but I don't ever use it. I'm a guy. I'm not tech savvy, and I hate texting. And I hate getting into all that stuff. But I do use Facebook a lot, and I'm very responsive. Send me a friend request, send me a message, whatever. I'll talk to you anytime. But we've got a Facebook group, Pac-Man Paranormal. We've got a Facebook page, Pac-Man Paranormal. We've got a Facebook group called Hauntings of Fort Duffield. It'll have all the information about what's going on at Fort Duffield there. We've got a Facebook page for the house called The Real Ditto House in 1841. What's coming up for us immediately, September 21st, we are going to be co-hosting a public investigation with the Black Wolf Paranormal at the historic Bell Witch Cave. Tickets are on sale for that right now. They went on sale today. We've already sold 10. There's only 20 tickets left. So if you want to come down there, the Bell Witch Cave is amazing. Todd and Leanne with the Black Wolf do a great job with those. They're a lot of fun, the public events. You get to see the cave. You get to see the Indian burial ground. You get to see the cabin, the replica Bell family cabin, and explore all the grounds there of the property. And it's always a good time. Then October 19th, we have, we call it Spirits, Squatches, and Stories Around the Campfire at Fort Duffield. It's $50 a ticket, runs from 7 o'clock till 2 a.m. We have a cookout. We provide the food and everything for you. We build a fire. We stand around the fire. We tell stories. You're welcome to investigate the fort. You're welcome to do some squatching, whatever you want to do. October 19th, we're going to have Squatchman Greg Yost as a guest host, and Todd and Leanne Eskew from the Black Wolf Paranormal is going to be there. And Crystal has been to one of those. She had a good time. We had 20 people at the last one that all saw Bigfoot. So there you go. If you've never had an experience, come up to Spirit Squatches and Stories Around the Campfire and see what you might find. Sunday night, this coming Sunday night, 8 o'clock on the Get Haunted Network, Denise and I have our podcast called Pac-Man Paranormal Live. Our guest is going to be Rick McCallum from the Hollywood Ghost Hunters. Investigate, part of the team with Kane Hodder and all of those folks. Rick's a great guy and a great guest. You're going to want to check that one out. It's going to be a good time. But golly, we got a lot coming up. We've got, like I say, the Rock Island Roadhouse Paracon. We're going to be talking Bigfoot there. We're going to be speaking at the first ever Indiana Bigfoot Conference in Nashville, Indiana. And there's other stuff. We're going to be at the Supernatural Soiree on the Battleship, New Jersey, as guests of Ghosted Magazine and Get Haunted Network. And that's going to be, it's just a big party. I believe it's October 26th. I believe that's the date on it.
Okay.
Just going to be a big party. It's not a Paracon or anything like that. It's just people of like minds to get together and party in spooky season on a beautiful setting, the Battleship, New Jersey. I mean,
yeah.
And in New Jersey, it's going to be a good time. So we got a lot going on. There's probably some comments too.
Sounds like you are covered up, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out with us tonight. You are awesome.
Well,
We would love to have you back.
Yep.
I feel like there's so much. We just scratched the surface. I feel like there's so much more that you could talk about.
There's a lot of layers to the onion we can peel back.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it very, very much. You enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. It's been fun. Been a good
Thank
time.
you.
Y'all take care.
That was very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. Good guy.
I can just listen to him like repeatedly, just because he's got stories like tucked down in there.
That's why I asked him to come back. Because there's so much more. I feel like that he has to share.
And like the brushy penitentiary, like if I saw that in person, I'd probably slam my own face into the ground because I feel like the dog you hear barking is not ours. It's our neighbor's. It's our neighbor's dog.
Why is your neighbor in your house?
Nope. You hear Rufus. His name is Rufus, and he is outside my office window.
All right. Again, Scott, I can't thank you enough, buddy. That was so generous. We appreciate it very, very much, buddy. You are a very valued member of our community. We love you, buddy. Thank you so very much.
Yes, we love you lots and lots and lots. And do send us an email.
Please do. Please do. All right. Let's get out of here, ma'am. Say your goodbyes.
Bye. You guys come back and see us on Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern. I am going to have a very special guest on, so you don't want to miss it.
Very, very cool. All right, guys. Until we talk to y'all again, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.